Are we sure that we didn't just do the finale a couple episodes early? Loki, episode 4. Spoiler warning, gotta say that right up front. And again, I know I'm not getting these out as close to when the episodes are releasing as I normally like to, but I'm just buried in stuff. You just gotta work with me on this. This might be the case for the remainder of this show. Anyways, yeah, this one took some unexpected turns. So we've got a number of things to pick up on. We've now got Victor Timely at the TVA. We have Ravonna, making her move. Ms. Minnis trying to make her move as well. They're still trying to fix the loom, which they theoretically need Timely for. Then there's, some lingering stuff. Brad was still around, so him and the general, Docs, I guess she's called, are still hanging around. We had sort of the implied time loop from earlier with Loki seeing Sylvie as she pulled her way out of an elevator. We've got all these dangling things, and pretty much all of them get tied up. Not in a way that actually feels like, oh, well, we stop here, but like that, this bold. Like, if they pick it up well after this could be real impressive. So, okay, let's knock this out. Let's go down the line. So, this probably isn't the same order I said them in, but, so Brad gets talked over to Ravonna's side, and then Docs and all of her people crushed. We basically get a gore-free payoff for the threatened torture of Brad of just making the cube smaller and smaller and smaller until nothing left. Again, given the nature of the show, I'm not shocked they didn't show either the thing itself or the aftermath, and I'm kind of glad they didn't, but also probably doesn't hit impactfully quite the same way, just having characters look at what is obviously a huge bloody mess and just having them be like, oh, I mean, they're doing their best, but, ratings restrictions, I'm sure. So they're done. That entire potential side plot. B-15 was trying to talk her around. Doesn't matter now. What else we got? Oh, the time loop gets closed because later on, Sylvie is prying her way out of that elevator, and Loki from before spots her and gets pruned by Loki of now. So that time loop is closed. So that's not anything left to do. Ms. Minutes gets rebooted, which was kind of a nifty thing where she kind of reset, and she was just kind of mean towards the very end, but then just reset to this most basic looking digital clock thing. Like, that was kind of a neat effect. Ravonna gets pruned, so she's gone. I don't know if they've established that the pruning still sends the people to the same place, even with the alternate timelines restored. Presumably it does. I mean, we know, like, in the first episode with Loki, stuff was being done by OB that, did other stuff. But, like, by and large, I guess we're meant to assume it's still sending them to that place with Goliath and where, like, Alligator Loki and the other Lokis were. Whether or not that is, in fact, the case, I don't know. I feel like there's some wiggle room to play with that a little bit if they wanted to. But in terms of the immediate, Ravonna's now gone. And then there's what they did with Victor Timely. Well, actually, before I get to what they did with him, let's back it up a step and let me touch on this character again. So I said previously that I didn't especially enjoy watching the character, but I get why they did what they did with him. And just to recap from the previous episode, while I didn't super love the performance or honestly even the writing of the character, I do think he was effective for getting to the end point of that episode, which was Sylvie couldn't kill him, because he needed to be not only different enough from He Who Remains, but be so different that you wouldn't automatically assume him begging for his life is a con, and you can't take it for granted that he's going to become He Who Remains. He has to be so different. So I get why the choices were made. He was just not that interesting and a little bit sort of awkward nerd cliches cranked up, or at least certain traits of that. So I still didn't love watching him, and that kind of continues to pan out a little bit here as well. I don't super love The way the character's written, the way he's performed in like this, like the time is falling apart, and he's like, hot chocolate machine. I'm like, At the same time, like there are still good little moments of performance in there, with him offering the hot chocolate to, I forget what his number was, but this other guy who was still around until he ended up getting pruned, I think by Ravonna. I'm pretty sure. But that led to a nice little moment. But the thing is, this is almost kind of a repeat in terms of like the use of this character as the last episode, which is that I'm not enjoying watching him. I'm not enjoying him being on screen. But then to where they went with him, I was like, oh, well, crap. Because he goes out to they send him out to try and fix the loom. They've had him help put together the device to do it. They've scanned his aura to open up the blast door so that they can go and fix this darn thing. And here's what I thought was going to happen. Like, okay, so he's going out. Something's going to happen to him that is going to somehow lead to him becoming He Who Remains or some other version of Kang that is just as bad or worse. I didn't know exactly what, but like that was my assumption. Like that's the obvious thing to do. They send him out and like he fixes it in the immediate, but they set in motion the stuff that's going to create, like everything. That's just going to be what happens, because it was already kind of reflecting sort of a time loopiness in terms of like he wrote the instructions for how to make the loom based off the manual, which OB wrote, which was based off his notes. So it's it's the snake eating its own tail. It is an Ouroboros sort of thing. So like it's already implying like a closed loop sort of thing. But instead he steps out and just gets shredded. Now, like I will grant that death is unusual enough that it's possible that like he just got scattered across a whole bunch of timelines or something like that. Like that's possible, but in terms of the immediate, like what happened was not something we've seen before, and he's just gone. And then the loom blows up. So the version of Kang we were dealing with is dead, or appears to be. The various factions that were internally fighting, at least in the immediate, have all been closed off. Doxa and her people are dead. Ravonna's pruned. I don't know what happened to Brad, but presumably if the loom blew up, he's gone. The same as Loki, Sylvie, Mobius, OB, Casey. Like, what? And like Ms. Menace is shut down. So like, who's left? And we'll see in the next episode, whether what the explosion of the loom was not just an explosion and wasn't just destruction. It caused something else to happen. Or maybe, like I said, what happened to Timely is not so straightforward, and maybe we pick up with him again somehow. Maybe we pick up wherever Ravonna got thrown to, whether that be the weird end of time place or something else. Like, there's still places to go, but in terms of like, well, I know that like this whole big moment can't be that big because they've got all these things to still deal with. So like the stakes, yeah, whatever. Here they actually closed everything off, like right down to closing the time loop between Loki and Sylvie with her coming out of the elevator. This was a thorough tying off of pretty much every, at least that I can think of, every obvious loose thread there was. And I'm real curious where it's gonna go from here. Because, like, show's not over. Season's not done. It's gonna go somewhere. But I don't know where. Like, I think it takes some guts for a show to actually end an episode on a sense of how any of this. Because, like, the standard way something like this would end, and I actually even kept watching, would be that like either last image or these days, like sort of call it a mid-credit sequence, sort of after the end credit sequence that like has the visuals and the main actor's name, but before they get to the one with the whole crew that's just the white text against a black screen, put a little insert scene to hint at where it'll pick up. But it doesn't do that. So I'm just like, whoa, ha, okay. what next? And again, we'll see if this pans out. We'll see how it wraps up. But other than the character of Victor Timely, who I don't super love, and I don't really enjoy the performance all that meant, other than him, the writing on this is just as sharp as it was in the first season. It's just, it is bold. It's really self-assured. We'll see where it's going, but even if it falls on its face in the end, I will be very disappointed. But up through this point, like, this is strong pacing. This is strong writing. Because, like, the obvious thing, because you don't want, like, the thing we've been trying to fix the entire time just becomes the thing for the whole season. Like, you want to get the loom addressed and then go next step. So what I was expecting was the loom gets repaired, but then something happens with the Victor Timely that makes him into a version of Kang that's actually a threat. But even anything of that equivalent of, okay, we solved this problem. Now we've got all these other problems. But they didn't solve the problem. It blew up. Okay. What's next? Even if in the last few episodes, this thing falls on its face, as I said, I'll be disappointed, but I will still be impressed by these first 4 episodes. Because while not flawless, again, Victor Timely, they are really solid and really well paced and just done with such confidence and just smartly presented. Yeah. At the very minimum, these first 4 episodes, tip of the hat. And I'm hoping it keeps going in a good direction, at a good pace, gives me, because, like, at this point, I don't even know what to expect. Like, it's not the end, but what's next? I don't know. I want to see, though. I want to find out. Loki, episode 4. I can't even remember what the episode's called, but dang, it was good. Or at least it built to a really good point. The bulk of the episode itself, it was good. It was fine. It was solid. But, like, to where it left off, okay. What'd you think about this thing? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, and subscribe. All help me out. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you see a break. See a break? Need a break. I'm going to go to bed. Time to thank some Patreon backers, and in the spirit of October, I'd like to thank Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Goddess Alita, Turok, The Thing That Goes Doink in the Anime, Ruth, Oliver B., Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Jen, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Fernobulax the Poodle, Robin Powell, Tracy Scrappett, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, and Rosalind Bennett. Thank you for your assistance. I don't know, I might try theming the shoutouts in the future. I don't know, we'll see. Thank you.